Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Last Week in Rugby on the Bonus Point podcast. Once again, I'm your host, TJ Olsen, and today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors. First off, Whalebird Kombucha. If you're looking for a great tasting beverage that is actually good for you, go try them out at your local Whole Foods, Air One, or other health food stores. Secondly, the Rugby Nation. So the Rugby Nation are leaders in strength and conditioning specifically for rugby players. They'll be releasing their 30-day Shred Fat Like the Pros program next month, which includes all the nutritional info, and the best part is no gym is required. Really looking forward to this one as I'll be doing the challenge as well. I believe Hulla wants to jump on it as well, so be on the lookout for that via our social media pages and the Rugby Nation website. Yeah, going to get ripped. Lastly, OsteoStrong in Mar Vista in Los Angeles. So OsteoStrong is a unique state-of-the-art system for strengthening bones, joints, and muscles. So just 10 minutes a week, you're able to strengthen your bones, your muscles, and improve your posture, your balance, and improve your athletic performance. So if you're interested, go to osteostrongla.com to book your free consultation today. So this past weekend, we had another week of great rugby in the Mitre 10 Cup. The Ranfurly Shield changed hands again. South Africa made a big announcement that a lot of us knew was coming. And in our bonus point segment, we talk about all the chatter that's going on regarding the lack of broadcasting options comparatively to schoolboy rugby in New Zealand and why there isn't more options for the Farah Palmer Cup. But before we get into that, as usual, we got our friend Tavita Halafia, aka Knovell Capote, to talk all about it. Hala, when are we seeing that new video clip you filmed recently? When's that coming out?
Look, that's a very good question. See, the way that my company's set up is I have a debit and a credit, and I got a visual, and it'll be coming.
Tong and Kevin Hart.
Right? No, it'll be coming out soon, man. We're recording all the visuals. So single will drop in end of October, and then the video will be hitting your television, cable networks, your MTVs and whatnot in November.
Nice. Okay. Well, super looking forward to that. So before we get to talking about the rugby that was played over the weekend, I do want to talk about the recent announcement by South Africa. So as a lot of people have been seeing today, the South African Rugby Union has confirmed it's voted to explore moving the Bulls, the Stormers, the Sharks, and the Lions to an expanded Pro 16 competition in Europe. And if approved, they would take the place of the Cheetahs and I think the Southern Kings as well, who've been playing some pretty average rugby in the current Pro 14 competition the last 3 seasons. And I know we've spoken about this a bit before, and it's an end of an era as South Africa have been a part of Super Rugby, I think, since 96. I think that's right.
From the get-go? When it was Super 12?
But I feel
with the Natal Sharks?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. But I think it's the best move for both South Africa and Super Rugby. We saw how well Australasian competition can do in its own capacity. What do you think about this move?
Yeah, man, look, it makes sense, dude. On every sort of level, okay? I think last time we spoke about this a few episodes ago, we discussed how the time difference is actually the biggest problem that we're having right now. And broadcasters like Foxtel, Ozstar, and Optus Vision were having issues in trying to gain an audience at your 2, 3 in the mornings. When your prospective Australian or Kiwi or Argentinian teams were playing out over there. So I think it's a great move. I think also too it does international rugby a big helping hand in that South African rugby is vicious, man. And I think introducing those top tier sides to a Pro 16 competition can only strengthen the international competition by playing better teams. And I'm 100% saying that Southern Hemisphere teams are better at that level, collectively from Sanzar's point of view. So I think it's a great move, man, and I can't wait to see what actually happens. I will tip a South African team to take out the Pro 16 first year, though.
I definitely will say that too. But now there have been rumours that some New Zealand provincial unions have been preparing bids to put in a team for the new Super Rugby competition. One I heard recently was Bay of Plenty trying to put in a team. Do you think that it realistically could happen, or do you think that New Zealand Rugby will have enough trouble maintaining the 5 teams it already has?
I think New Zealand Rugby Union understand that they need another outlet and that they're losing players to Europe and Japan rather quickly. You only have to look at guys like Brad Weber, who are looking at leaving only 2-3 years ago, but New Zealand Rugby really put the hammer down to keep guys like that around. So I think realistically, out of all the teams, Bay of Plenty are probably the ones that actually have the facilities and the funding and the longevity in New Zealand club rugby and might tend to be able to supply a team. And I mean, as harsh as this sounds, that could be on a level, if not better, than some of the Australian teams over here and New Zealand teams there at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that. Would there be a team that you'd want to see a province put in a bid for?
Dude, I'm 100% in on a Polynesian team. A combined PI team needs to be put into a Super Rugby competition. That's a big thing for me. I think more so than a Japanese team or Argentinian team. I think if we can get a PI team in this competition, not only are we going to keep those players within the South Pacific, I think it goes one step further to help the second-tier nations keep their great players in the area, which then helps fund their families, which makes them want to stay here a lot longer. And also, I think Sansa would then start releasing players, even if it's just for a World Cup year, a lot easier than what some of these PI players, guys like Fikitoa and Charles Piotau, who aren't being released from their clubs in Europe, in the UK.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 100% agree with that. And hopefully we get to see that in the following Super Rugby season. But with New Zealand rugby in mind, let's get talking about the Mitre 10 Cup action over the weekend. So just like every week, we're going to go through a rapid recap of all the scores over the weekend and talk about our feature game of the week. So Wellington versus Bay of Plenty, Wellington winning 32-10. Tasman versus Waikato. So Waikato came up short against the reigning champions, losing 34-17. Big shout out to David Havili, who came back from his injury for that one.
And crushed it?
Three tries. 3 bloody tries, yeah. And I did find out more information about his injury, though. Supposedly he swallowed a toothpick, and that was the reason. He had to go have an operation. And, yeah, supposedly it might have been like something wrapped in bacon or something like that, where he just randomly just ate a toothpick and he didn't know. But
bacon. How dare you?
Southland getting another win.
Dude.
Versus North. I don't care that it's...
Someone from Southland's put money on, and they're laughing, bro. Their multi's looking good.
For seriously, some guy's buying a lot of Lion Reds right now, which is winning. Yes, but it was against North Harbour. I don't care that it's 11-10. Definitely another win for Southland. And
can I also just say, like, sorry, you go.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, playing in Invercargill would suck, bro.
Yeah, that's true. I hate that. But
that's colder than my ex-girlfriend's heart.
Oh my god. And I do think they have the oldest player in the competition right now.
They do.
Yeah. So that's big ups to them. They're doing pretty well. So
they're doing well, man.
Yeah. So our feature game of the week, Hawke's Bay versus Canterbury. This was definitely the most exciting game of all season. Hawke's Bay having a great start to the season, winning this one over Canterbury 20-19
in the 82nd minute.
Yeah. Oh, man, I can't wait to talk about that game. It's going to be friggin' awesome. Auckland absolutely pumped Manawatu 50-12. I couldn't watch the full game. I turned it off halfway.
There was no need. After 15 minutes, you were like, okay, we know where this is going.
Yeah. I just watched the highlights the next day and I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Counties Manukau versus Northland. The Taniwha winning over Counties 15-24. And lastly, Naki and Otago for the Ranfurly Shield. Otago end up winning the Ranfurly Shield convincingly with a score of 30-19. So, yeah, big ups to Otago. There are a lot of games we could have spoken about this week, but we have to talk about Hawke's Bay Canterbury. It was just personally, I thought it was the most entertaining game of the season, coming down right to the wire, like you said. What did you think of this match altogether?
Oh, dude, this was probably one of my favorite games of the year, just in general. Just the seesaw event was great. And the irony of how Hawke's Bay won. Like,
well, that's the thing. So Hawke's Bay winning, the irony of how they won, definitely won. But this is a match that meant a lot to Hawke's Bay players, supporters, the whole province. Because get this, the last time Hawke's Bay won over Canterbury, wait for it, 1983. 37 years ago. My God. So you could see just on their faces how much passion, how much that meant to them.
I know. Yeah. It was awesome. And, like, you know, for those that don't know, Canterbury, just like the Crusaders, they're lined out into a rolling maul, unstoppable. And for Hawke's Bay to they had a penalty. They didn't take the points. They were like, nope, we're going. to kick that line out and then to get a rolling maul, and none other than TJ's favorite player, Ash Dixon at the back, just rolling over that try line.
I want him to come play for Waikato. He's never going to. He's Hawke's Bay
He's never
through
going
and
to,
through.
no.
But this leads me into my next question. So, did Ian Foster make the wrong decision not picking Ash Dixon, or does he belong? Does he
You gotta
belong?
let this go, man.
Okay. I'm gonna let it go because I'm pretty sure there's nothing that's gonna happen. The only way he's gonna get a call up is if someone gets injured and he's the last.
Let's be honest. Almoa could get injured pretty quickly. I mean, he's got a history of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll let it go. But who stood out for you more than Ash Dixon? Who was kind of the big catalyst in that win? Was there anyone else, or was it Ash Dixon through and through?
No. I actually enjoyed, and I had his name, but I've lost all my notes. The number 5 for Hawke's had an astounding.
Yeah, he did. He was. He kind of reminded me of Scott Scrafton. He was kind of Scott Scrafton-esque.
Yeah, man. Just I thought Hawke's Bay were unlucky in some of their set pieces, but that dude was all over the field, like especially for a second rower. He was moving, man. I thought him in the line out, he was definitely trying to pinch. I thought perhaps the lifters were just a little bit behind, but I thought he did really well in disrupting some of those mauls off the lineouts, and I definitely think he was strong in the rucks and mauls. I really enjoyed watching him play. And I was just like, dude, how old is this guy? He's probably one of those 19-year-old, 58-year-old looking dudes, but I thought he had a really good game, man. I was really that was a battle of the forwards, that game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And at 75 minutes, I did not see Hawke's Bay winning at all. I thought they were getting done over left, right, and center. And they went through the last 10 minutes. Canterbury had a couple penalties go their way. Mm-hmm. And, Hawke's Bay just didn't give up, man. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it was great, though. I really enjoyed the way that they basically took the Canterbury's game plan away from them, because it's always been a forward-driven game led by Canterbury, and they were like, "Yeah, screw that. We're gonna take your game plan."
Dude, man, that's not even confident. That is a cocky way. That's nah, we're going here. We're gonna go to a line out. And I'm like, why? And all I thought was this was ACT Brumbies and Reds all over again. You're gonna go to a line out that you haven't been winning, and turn the ball over, and it's game over. Yeah. When they came in and he got it, I was like, oh, thank God that did. And then as soon as the rolling maul started and they didn't sack it straight away, I was looking at the TV. I was like, no way. So Ash Dixon with that ball, and I'm like, this boy, he's scoring, man. If there was anyone else, I wouldn't have been confident to call it beforehand. As soon as I saw Ash with the ball, I was like,
yeah, I think that's definitely the one. If it was anyone else at the back of that, I would definitely sit there and go, nah, game over. They're not going to get it over.
I know, dude.
And yeah, everyone piled in as well. That their whole team came in. Even I saw number 23 come in, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be a team try right there.
Yeah, it was awesome. And just the emotion after it was awesome. You could see that.
Yeah, incredible.
I heard a lot of F yeahs through the referee microphones.
None of them bleeped out. So that was pretty awesome.
Dude, have you noticed that though with Mitre 10? There mustn't be a delay because I'm hearing a lot of cuss words.
Oh yeah, I think with Super Rugby and Mitre 10, yeah, it's basically you'll hear some people come over and they'll have a chat to the referee, and then you'll hear them try and plead their case, and as soon as they're walking away, they'll just be like, fuck this or fuck that. They just start swearing a whole bunch. Oh man, it's great. But I know we got to give Canterbury some credit because they're obviously missing a lot of All Blacks in their squad due to them going off to camp. But one guy I think played quite well and picked up a lot of the slack was Josh Mackay. So he presented a lot of attacking options during this matchup. His defense was pretty consistent, and he obviously scored a try that was actually a pretty pivotal moment and giving Canterbury a leg up. What did you think of him?
Dude, man, so he's in the Super Rugby system though, right? I read
he's playing for, I believe, the Highlanders.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Look, what he did was create space and time, and it was evident in that. I think, look, Hawke's Bay's strength is their forward pack.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so like what he did for Canterbury was just sort of exploit them a little bit. And you know what? It was unlucky on Canterbury. They could have piled on a few more points. But I think the defense for Hawke's Bay, and more so the one-on-one plays, the deliberate slowing the ball down without being penalized, or the snaffling straight away really paid a dividend. But what he did is just show his class in creating time. And Hawke's Bay just didn't know whether to rush or not.
Mm-hmm. And I think we got to give, I would say Hawke's Bay some credit, or Canterbury some credit, because they did go to the side where Jonah Lowe wasn't, who was basically their star winger for Hawke's Bay. So they basically went, we'll create space on the wide for the Mr. Nobody. But I think what it came down for me was there was a lot of individual performances by Canterbury, and it was a team collective that won. Yeah, Correct. It was the team collective that won Hawke's Bay. And
totally agree.
But the question I want to ask is, was it losing the Shield last week, or was it losing their All Blacks that lost Canterbury this one?
Look, I honestly think you can't rely on your international or your Super Rugby players.
We spoke about that last week, yeah.
Right? And I think the Mitre 10 shows us that, these guys, even though it's Mitre 10, are still levels ahead of pretty much everyone else playing club rugby.
Yeah.
So I would dare say that it's got not too much to do with losing the All Black players, in the sense of that gamemanship on the field. But I think that losing them does have a leadership quality that they miss.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that's a funny one, dude, because, we've seen stacked teams with All Blacks in them get pumped. Yeah. So, you really can't bring it down to that. I think it would be unfair on the players that currently played. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As much as they lost, because then I suppose, the flip side to that is, if they won, are they better off without the All Blacks play? Do you know what I mean? Like, what system are we working at here? Are we, do they just it's almost like, if you've got a good club team winning, and a Reds player needs to come back, or a Super Rugby player needs to come back through, are you disrupting that team by bringing someone who undoubtedly is great, but are you disrupting that team sort of mentality and, all the connections that they've got on the field? So I don't know. It's a weird one, bro, because I think Canterbury are going to have a real shitty season this year.
I agree with that.
Good, man.
Yeah, it's obviously still early days, and that's what I love about the Mitre 10 Cup is so many things can change week to week. But yeah, from the look of everything and just from their stature, I don't believe Canterbury's going to have
worse for them, mate. They've got Wellington this week.
When you think of Wellington, like you've got a pretty heavy Hurricanes team in the Wellington side. Like, how a lot of provinces, they have various players from every Super Rugby team, but
it's pretty much
I think they've only lost 2 All Blacks in Artie and TJ. So a lot of people who were saying Wellington Lions were done after they saw the first week against Waikato, you're a bloody idiot.
And dude, man, what's his name? Dupli Karifi.
Oh yeah, Karifi, and you got Wes Hoosen, Umaga Jensen. Yeah,
Jensen?
So you're good.
Dude, get out of here, bro. Like, they are forced to be working with.
Yeah. Well,
I just want someone to beat Tasman.
Yeah, I think everybody... Well, I think everybody always, every season, wants someone to take down the champ. I mean, it just creates... I
just hate Tasman, though.
Why do you hate Tasman so much?
Just because. I don't have to reason it. I just do.
Oh, man.
North Island through, baby.
I love this podcast. It's basically... Hulla doesn't have to explain anything unless I force it out of him. He just goes...
No, I don't. LeBron James still sucks, and I'll hold it. Okay?
How you liking your boy in the final, though?
Oh, my gosh. It's killing. Let's go Jimmy Butler in the heat. Let's go Jimmy Butler in the heat.
I'm backing Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, because he's been in the finals the last 6 decades. So, yeah, let's go Pat Riley, because he owns
my gosh.
The majority stakeholder.
I never thought I'd have to rely on Jimmy Butler in a final series.
I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody was sitting there going, "Come on, Jimmy Butler, you're so consistent.
Jimmy Butler,
you can do everything."
Franchise player? Are you kidding me?
I'll rely more on what's his name, Hero, the 3-point shooter, who was drafted like, I don't know, 30th or something, than I would Jimmy Butler. So yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good series. Look, congratulations to the Lakers. Yeah, look, we all know how I feel about the Lakers.
And you're
We
living
don't
in
we don't
LA.
need to revisit that.
Oh man. All right. Well, it's called the bonus point for a reason, and obviously the bulk of the episode is going to be short and sharp. But today's discussion is probably going to be a lengthy one in the bonus point segment. So there's been a lot of chatter about the Farah Palmer Cup and how schoolboy rugby in New Zealand gets a lot of coverage comparatively. And before we get started, I just want to make everybody aware that this isn't a debate about which one should receive or television rights or which one should stay and which one should go. It's just all about where the resources are being put in and how they're being divided. So a big argument that everyone's saying is New Zealand rugby is basically leaving Farah Palmer Cup to fend for itself, and kind of it's becoming an afterthought. So bear with me for a second because I want to delve into some important information about the statistics about schoolboy rugby before we get into the broadcasting about schoolboy rugby. So we all know that schoolboy rugby is woven in the fabric of New Zealand society. It prepares our elite players for the future, and these schools have a strong history dating back almost a century. But a lot of people are bringing up valid points about their current system and the national exposure that places too much pressure on these young men. So a report from the School Sport New Zealand shows the number of schoolboy rugby players declined from 25,000 in 2014 to 21,000 in 2018. So a 17% fall. Over the same period, basketball's popularity, funny that we were speaking about it, it increased 41% in New Zealand. And Auckland specifically, if we want to talk about that one, the number of secondary school rugby teams has fallen from 225 to 181 over the past 5 years. So the report pointed to a range of reasons for the decline. It's including the fragmented and confusing structure of schoolboy competitions and a lack of qualified coaches, concern over the physical nature of the game. But it's also said that the hyper-competitive nature of some of the competitions with the schools running programs as semi-professional academies created questionable outcomes. So like I'll give you an example. So the report's release came shortly after a controversy blew up about Auckland competition when schools threatened to boycott St. Ken's College over its recruitment policies. So I guess my question to you, Hulla, and I guess to everyone is, with the system struggling more year after year, does New Zealand rugby have to take a step back to reevaluate schoolboy rugby and the system and the resources that they receive for broadcasting?
I mean, there's so many avenues we can go with this. I think, for example, schoolboy rugby gives you guys like Umaga Jensen, who were just, and his brother, who we were speaking about earlier, right? Who came through, 2015. I think they graduated.
Yep.
And, the produce of schoolboy rugby, you can see in every All Black era since it's turned professional. There's been the standouts. When it comes down to the mental health and the, statistics are dropping out and the importance of broadcasters' rights. I mean, broadcasters' rights are simple, man. It's what makes them the most money. They don't care of anything. Female, male, young, old, gay, straight, atheist, religious, like, they don't care. Whatever makes them money is what they're going to go with, okay?
Yeah. And obviously, rugby's an entertainment sport. It's something where people want to be entertained. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when it comes down to the schoolboys, you're talking about thousands of people invested in the school. This isn't just who's currently there. You're talking old boys who want to watch like Kings versus Auckland Grammar, or do you know what I mean? Like these built-up rivalries is the same in Australia, Nudgee versus Terrace, or when one of the St. Joseph's teams from Brisbane go down to Sydney, or vice versa. Like, this is something that's, I love watching Gregory Terrace Nudgee days. Do you know what I mean? It's something that's inherited and something that's broadcast on Fox Sports quite regularly. So, it comes down to making money when the mental health and the capacity for these kids being put in the spotlight and all that. I think that comes down to personal growth and what the schools are willing to do and cater to the athlete. I think it's unfair to use that statistic and sort of blame broadcasting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on that. I think it's two separate things. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
On the flip side, would it improve the women's game if they were broadcasted more?
Okay, so that's the conversation that I want to have next. Is that the question has been raised about the broadcasting resources and funding that Farah Palmer Cup have received, and I spoke to a few people over the last couple of weeks about the broadcasting resources Schoolboy receives comparatively to Farah Palmer Cup, and the responses were obviously split. So some argued that Schoolboy Rugby is obviously more entertaining, and obviously there's a lot of culture and heritage that have gone back years and years, and a lot of people want to tune into those games. And there's a lot of importance. So there's a lot of boys that are going to be playing their last ever rugby in those games. So that puts a lot of, I guess, weight on that one game rather than some Farah Palmer Cup episodes. But comparatively, you think about the Farah Palmer Cup, and the FPC is always thought as an afterthought in New Zealand. And considering that there's a Women's World Cup next year, and then you've got rugby sevens players that usually don't play in this competition who are elite athletes like Ruby Tui and a few other, like Portia Woodman, who are usually playing for the sevens, there should be more coverage and awareness for the women's game, especially leading up to that. So like I said at the start of the segment, we're not arguing which one should stay and which one should go, but how these resources should be divided up. So I think what my personal opinion is I think that the public's perspective of schoolboy rugby, it is a bigger entertainment factor and will most likely receive more buy-in from fans, Sky Sports, sponsors, all that stuff. So obviously, if the more money New Zealand rugby can get is great, but the FPC shouldn't be treated as an afterthought. I think they should use the same camera crews that they're using for Mitre 10 Cup, because every game is going to be a curtain raiser for a Mitre 10 Cup. The equipment's already there, commentators are already there, and if they can't get the regular commentators to do two games, or if they can't pay them enough because they don't have enough money, get some former women's players or aspiring commentators to come into the games. And the best way to do it, I think, in my opinion, is do it like they do with like Premier Comps in Australia. They've got the Queensland Premier Competition or Shoot Shield. They put it on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. And if the numbers are consistently decent, then the proof is in the pudding. You're able to go to Sky Sport and go, look, we have a decent viewer base because look how many people are tuning in week after week. But on the flip side, if it turns out that there's only 1,000 people that watch a game here and there, then you've got your case, and the critics will be silenced because you've got basically a free product that you're putting online that is very easy to watch. And if people don't go and watch that, they're not going to go pay for Sky Sport or pay for cable to go watch a Farah Palmer Cup just basically for that. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good plan, or would you go a different direction?
Yeah, look, I think if they're playing at the same fields as the Mitre 10 teams, which predominantly they are, I don't see why that can't be set up. And I'm sure the costs would be minimal, given that they're already there. I suppose the big thing for me, not to be the devil's advocate, is at what point then do these semi-professional athletes now start looking? Because I think one step further on a business level is if they now are being filmed, and let's say they go straight to prime time, then they need to cut in on this as well. Just like the Mitre 10 players are. Their budget comes from, the televised stuff and endorsements as well. So
yep.
Do you know what I mean? I think like there needs to be, I 100% think that the women, it annoys me that I can't watch Australian women's teams in Brisbane or in Sydney play. Mm-hmm. And I know more players in the Kiwi team. So yeah. Do you know what I mean? I would want to see the girls over there play, and I don't understand why that's not happening. And I 100% think, and look, I'm going to go one step further. I think it's more important to show the women's than the schoolboy rugby. That's just me personally. Okay. I think schoolboy rugby to an extent can live on its own and still be very valuable to everyone involved. And if I had to choose which one I wanted to pay for, I would not be paying for schoolboy rugby. I would be paying to watch these women, especially in this tournament and this cup, play, because they have made a choice to pursue this, and I fully support that. And if I know that the money that I'm paying to go see is going to help them or women's rugby in the long run, then I would much rather that than schoolboy rugby. Now, that's just me personally. So I will clarify that I think women's rugby is way more important than schoolboy rugby. And I think that we need to support that more. But I can see the point of it not being shown. And I can understand that the moment that that happens and there's a monetary value put on the women's game that they're showing them on prime time or a pay-per-view or whatever it is that they do online, I understand the repercussions of that, because now the player management or the the players association are now going to say, okay, so what's happening with this payment, right? If we're showing this, where's the remuneration from it into the women's game, which is completely and 100% fair. So, which makes me angry in that, well, yeah, where is it? Why is this? Why you're not doing it? NZRU. Do you know what I mean? And and that's just me. And I think we're both very passionate about women's rugby, and we can see in the next 10 years, it's going to be really important to develop. I just think we're hitting such a beautiful moment in women's sport worldwide. And we're invested in women's rugby that much that we can see the benefit of this happening. And, and I just think that, moving forward, we need to stop looking at the financial value of a player and look at, as in a right now, and look at what could happen 10, 20 years down the track by investing. That's the key word here, investing in the future of the women's game, because schoolboy rugby is always, the investment's already been made.
Yeah.
And it's turning these players out, which is why you got scholarships galore across Australia and New Zealand, which is why that we knew who Umaga Jensen and his brother were, or the Umaga Jensens, I should say, before they became Super Rugby players. Do you know what I mean? Because, Tongan Thor is a perfect example of schoolboy rugby.
Oh, yeah.
Doing perfectly what it's meant to do. Can we say the same for women's sport in general, but specifically right now, women's rugby? No, we can't. And that's wrong, because if we can do it for the men, we should be able to do it for the women.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will cut NZRU some slack, because
I'm joking.
I did go to a women's coaching conference led by New Zealand Rugby in 2018, and they showed us projections about the grassroots and how they're helping the grassroots level of women's rugby. And basically they had a plan, I think it was from 2017 or 2016 to 2021, and they are pumping all these resources into New Zealand Rugby and for the women at grassroots, provincial, all that stuff. And every year, their projected numbers, they were always exceeding them by at least a couple of thousand. So I think that they are doing some things that are to help women's rugby. But I think from a provincial standpoint, when you think about especially how it's a provincial competition, it's national, and it's basically the level below the Black Ferns, which is arguably the greatest women's team in the friggin' universe. I think there definitely should be made a more effort than me and my girlfriend watching a counties Northland game, and 30 minutes left, the feed just cutting out completely. We having no idea about what happens. And then it ends up being the best 30 minutes of the whole season, and Northland ended up winning the game. So there's two sides to every coin, but I think the moral of the story is we need to do more, and we need to help broadcast these women, because although we may know the Charmaine McMenamins and the Eloise Blackwells and all these other, Kendra Cox-Edges and all those other girls who are the top tier girls, we need to bring a spotlight to those younger girls like the Moana Cooks that are playing for Auckland, or all the other girls that deserve a spotlight and deserve that coverage. So yeah, I think that's anything else you wanted to add to that?
Probably too controversial.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I know when to speak. I know when to shut the up.
Do you? I don't know if you do.
Well, no.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that for that. But basically, schoolboy rugby and New Zealand women's rugby. Both great products, both that I want to see thrive. And we'll see what happens in the next year, especially after COVID finishes. But yeah, that's our episode done and dusted. Another week of Mitre 10 Cup coming up, and obviously
I do want to say though, I am getting excited. Do you want to know why, TJ?
Why? Because of Test match rugby?
We got 2 weeks till Bledisloe, baby. 2 weeks till we see the slaughter of Australian rugby live in our faces, and we scream.
Wait, so when is this? When is this Brisbane Test match that you could be going to?
You mean I will be going to? It's
okay,
in
we'll be going to.
4 weeks. 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah. Okay. So it's rule of thumb. You better be going to that game. You should be enjoying it for both of us. And if you don't, I'm going to be very
Look,
mad.
I think I may have to go live on our Facebook page.
Oh,
maybe I'll choose to be in the Wallaby section in my All Blacks jersey.
That would be. Actually, I wouldn't even say that'd be dangerous because Wallabies fans are just a bunch of pansies. But yeah, no.
I'll tell you a funny story before we line out. Sign off. I was in Sydney for the Bledisloe Cup in 2017. I went with my old man. It was like 100,000 people there. I deliberately got Wallaby section seats. I rock up there and I had a hoodie on, and we sit down. I take my hoodie off. Well, they just give it. It was good. It was good chat, and I love good chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it at me. Anyway, not Michael Foley. What's his name? Foley.
Bernard Foley.
Bernard Foley kicks 2 penalty goals the first 15 minutes. It's 6-0. He kicks the second one. They're giving it to me. This Snapchat still exists on my phone. I went on my Snapchat and I was like, lap it up now, lads, because this is the last points you're scoring all game. The end score was 52-6. At halftime, nobody wanted to speak to me because I was just feeding them. It got to the point where my dad was angry at first, and then we had a couple of rums, and he's like, nah, just give it to him, son.
Yeah,
just give it to him.
Just jump on him.
With 10 minutes to go, it was like, 47-6 or whatever. I stood up and I held in selfie mode, and I was like, make some noise if you're a winner. And it was just me. Woo! Reflection, I checked the Snapchat and I just saw fingers all the time. And then the guy next to me who was feeding me the most, he's like, mate, you could be humble. And I was like, says the guy after 6-0.
Yeah.
Feeding it to me. And I'm like, just because you're used to, getting up by 6 and then thinking that you're done. And his wife goes, tell me about it.
Yeah, if the tables were turned, I don't think he would ever be humble at all. He would just be ripping.
No, not at all. So I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. Test match rugby, and you know what? It's good for you because it's a 5:30 Saturday afternoon game.
Oh yeah, we spoke about this. Yeah.
How good is that?
Yeah, that'll be good fun. Yeah, I'll be.
Maybe we should go live. We should do this live because we'll both be.
Oh yeah, we can do like an Instagram live or something. That would be good.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
we'll do
it. I'm so keen for that. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning into another episode of the Bonus Point Rugby Podcast. Check out the Rugby Nation with their 30-day Shred Fat Like the Pros program coming out next month. And also, if you're in Los Angeles, come and check out OsteoStrong. It is a free consultation, so you can go in and check them out. Definitely the only thing that's been helping my back comparatively to chiropractic work and cupping that costs $1 million here. So check out osteostrongla.com just to check that one out. But yeah, signing off. We'll see you guys soon. TJ. Yeah, no worries.
See you next week.
Soon, Holla. Yeah, definitely.
Up the Waikato.
Oh, yeah, always, every week. All right, thanks, guys, for tuning in, and thank you for tuning into the Bonus Point Rugby Podcast.